I'm Isabel McCullough, and I'm going to present my Search Trends Computer Science 101 final project. So I created this website using Google Sites, which is one of the many new Google tools that allows us to create basic web pages using a Google template. And it's very simple to add pages like this to a sidebar because all of the basic code for a website is set up. All you have to do is name the page and it'll get added to the website. And one nice thing about Google Sites is it allows us to examine the bare bones HTML on which the site itself is built. So here we can see an HTML, a code setup. This is all code, and this is what builds the web page that we see. And the HTML itself is just set up for the website, but there's also a second kind of code called CSS, and CSS has to do more with aesthetics. So when we see red text and an underline when we hover, and blue here, and a certain font size, that all has to do with CSS. And here where we see style equals and then several different elements for that, that is CSS as opposed to HTML, which would be something like div or break, like a page break like this is HTML, not CSS. And they work in different ways. CSS goes by class and by name, whereas HTML is not able to distinguish separate elements. It is simply the basis of the website itself, and the formatting to some extent, but oftentimes when you want to get into more complex formatting, CSS is the way to go. And this site is accessed on the web once all the HTML and CSS is set up. It's accessed on Google's servers. And servers are just giant computers that store all of the different pages and the different URLs that belong to a company. So we have to pay for domain names, but in the case of Google Sites, they're free, but they're owned by Google, and we have to use Google's templates, and they're linked to our Google accounts. And so this website is stored somewhere probably in California in the Silicon Valley on a Google server, which is a big computer, and it's probably surrounded by other big computers in something called a server farm, which would just be a room full of hundreds of these giant computers that store websites. And these websites then connect to each other through the internet, which is wireless. And that's how they kind of communicate with one another and take us from web page to web page and interact and share data. So here we can see some of the different visual elements that I created for my website using a free image editing tool. So the first one is my logo. And what's important to have in a logo is the title of the project and kind of what it's about. So I have the subtitle, so to speak, Innovations in Computer Science, which is the name of the project, and then my topic, Search Trends, and a very basic but engaging graphic that helps to convey what this project is about. Then I have my banner, and the banner includes my logo right here, but is a little more detailed. It goes into more detail about how my project is about politics and who it's by, me. And it also incorporates more color. Then we have a GIF. And a GIF is a collection of images that move together in a frame. Here they are. So I can't play my GIF, but it would cycle between this image, search trends, followed by a picture of me, the author, followed by my logo, followed by the Google Trends logo, because Google Trends is pretty much the only way we can access search trend data effectively at the moment. It's certainly the best way. And a GIF would play through like that. And it cycles like a little movie over and over and over again. And I made all of these using an image editing tool, and I made this using a free GIF generator. And all of these were just visual elements to help make my website more engaging. Especially in the logo, I had to use different layers, and in the banner, because I had to make sure that you could see my logo through the banner. And layers are just like layers in an onion. They go one on top of each other, and when you put them all together, they form one concrete image. So the text and the background and the logo might all be on different layers, but when you compress those layers together, they make one picture. Now these are all the different images on my website. So I included the Google Trends logo again just to clarify what method we're using to access search trends. And on my impact page, I included this infographic because the impact page has to do with politics. And I wanted a professional infographic about different political issues within the United States. And this infographic covers top regions by key search terms, so who's searching for what the most, and we can get this kind of data using Google. And also on my impact page, I have my video, which is about Britain's exit from the United Kingdom, which we're going to watch now.
Well, how I feel about them is secondary, but one thing I think is interesting is after the Brexit vote in Britain last week, we were able to track how many British people were looking up what is the European Union, which is one of the most interesting examples of post-mortem attitude toward an election or a referendum.
So that's my video, and I made that using the YouTube video editor, which is technically another Google tool because YouTube is owned by Google. Also on this page is the data visualization that I made based on this survey, which is embedded here. And the data I chose to aggregate into this visualization was the level of perceived impact from people ages 17 to 58 of search trends both on themselves and on society. And this infographic just helps us to a little bit better understand the results of the survey and perhaps notice some patterns about what people of different ages think about the impact of search trends. On my purpose page, I chose both the Google Trends mobile logo, which has an abstraction of a trend spiral, but also a screen capture of the typical Google Trends results screen for cat, dog, and goat. And Google Trends gives you 3 big results, which are the interest over time, and it aggregates that data into this kind of line graph visualization, regional interest on a map like this, and then a list of related terms rated by most popular to least popular. And that just gives a good overview of what a Google Trends result looks like and what kind of data it gives us. So now we're going to discuss just the purpose of this project. So just to describe it and indicate what this project is about, I chose search trends because I'm interested in how we interact with this data and how we analyze it and what we do to put it in context and how it can help us. And a benefit that can be explained of Google Trends is that it allows the everyday person, but also corporations and larger groups, to examine data that has been aggregated from a bunch of numbers into effective visualizations that help us to understand patterns. And this can help in everything from voter demographic measurement to marketing to how we advertise to people to what people need. It's about what people are looking for and how we can get it to them. And the impact that this innovation has had on our culture, certainly politically, it has helped candidates and parties market more directly to the voters and to understand what different demographics are looking for and what regions need what issues addressed. This infographic addresses this issue really well, which is why I chose it. It addresses what regions need what issues addressed, and looking at trend data helps us to do that. And our relationship to data, certainly for Google Trends, so Google Trends is using data input. It takes all of Google's search trend or search data and then releases data in the form of metadata, which is data about data in a visualization. And it transforms the output data about what trends are happening within the searches into a visualization for the viewer to look at. And one privacy concern had to do with Google Flu Trends, which tried to predict flu outbreak based on searches within a region. And Google Trends was fairly new at this point, and people were concerned that their individual search data was being utilized for this flu project. Google did assure people that, in fact, all Google searches and Google Trends data specifically is anonymous and it is aggregated data. Google Trends visualizations are not based on individual search, but are instead based on an aggregation of relative data. And so that concern was addressed by the company and has not really been an issue since. A user interacts with Google Trends by visiting their website, right here, where we have been before, and they use this interface to either look at current trending topics or to pick their own to receive data about that. And the innovations technology incorporates the idea of the internet by allowing us to understand how people are using it and to receive metadata about the internet, because we're getting data about the data on the internet. We're understanding what people are looking for, but also how the internet itself is being used, because searches are probably the most prevalent form of internet activity in a person's day-to-day life. They help us to really understand how humans are using the internet and how we can help each other use it better. And these are the references that I used for this paper. I have multiple articles from news sites, I have information from Google itself, and right here is the article I featured in my video from NPR about the Brexit vote. What is the EU? So this is Google Trends.